Today, it's all about the 7 most egregious and widespread myths and misconceptions about the Doberman breed that I've learned in all my years of owning Dobermans. It's not like what you see in the movies, guys, or like the rumors you hear from other people. And today, you're gonna see exactly what I mean. Yeah, owning a Doberman just isn't like what it is in the movies, guys. But you know, there is one rumor about the Doberman breed that is definitely true, and that's that they are an extremely unique breed of dog, just unlike any other out there. And maybe that's why so many myths and misconceptions exist out there about this dog. So let's kick it off with our very first myth. And that is that Dobermans will turn against their owners. The myth goes like this, that the Doberman, as they mature, their brain continues to grow and the skull size stays the same. So the pressure that's built up from the brain growing and the skull staying the same eventually leads to the dog snapping and turning on their owners who they were once completely loyal to. Man, you know, I've known a few people with some heads that are a little too small. I wonder if they ever snap. And guys, this absolutely is not true. The Doberman breed has earned its reputation for being one of the most loyal dog breeds in the world. And they didn't earn this by snapping and randomly turning on their owners, believe me. They're Velcro dogs. They love to stick right by their owners. They're super human focused. They're always focused on their owners. And they're bred to be personal protectors on a genetic level. That's what this breed was intended to be from the very beginning, was a protector for humans, not a dog that is genetically inclined to snap and turn on their owners. Also, they're among the top 5 smartest dog breeds in the world, so they're not prone to a lot of impulse. And in fact, these dogs are responsible for less dog bite fatalities in the US every year than Labrador retrievers. Yes, it's true, but we'll talk more about that in a second. Now, this myth may have come from a condition called hypothyroidism, and this is where the hormone levels can get all off in the dog, and a benign dog can sometimes turn aggressive. But this is a condition that can affect any dog, not just the Doberman, and the Doberman is not more prone to this condition than other dogs are. So it's not entirely clear where this myth came from, but Dobermans are not known to do this in any way, shape, or form. Now, the next myth is that the Dobermans can come in miniature, normal, or king-sized versions. Now, guys, unfortunately, there is only one size of Doberman out there. They're officially considered a medium-sized breed, and per the American Kennel Club, the AKC, the breed standard for the male Doberman says that they should be between 26 to 20 inches tall at the withers, which is kind of like the upper shoulder blade area. Very tight range there. And the weight should be between 75 to 100 pounds. For the females, they should be between 24 to 26 inches tall and weigh between 60 to 90 pounds. So why is there all this talk about miniature Doberman Pinschers existing out there? Well, there is a breed called the Miniature Pinscher, or Min Pin. Notice it doesn't have the word Doberman in the name because this breed is not a Doberman. This is a toy or a companion breed of dog, and whereas the Doberman is a working breed. Now, the Doberman is related to a different set of ancestors. The Doberman is believed to be related to the Rottweiler, the German Shepherd, and the Greyhound, whereas the Miniature Pinscher is believed to be related to the Dachshund, or what I just call wiener dogs, the Italian Greyhounds, and German Pinschers. Okay, well, both of them are said to have German Pinschers in the bloodline, but that's about where their similarities end. These are two completely different breeds of dogs bred for an entirely different purpose. Okay, well, what about king-size Dobermans, often called Warlock Dobermans, or Goliath Dobermans, or Gladiator Dobermans? Well, unfortunately, this is a marketing term that kind of came around in the 70s and 80s or so of Doberman breeders who were responding to a demand for bigger and larger Dobermans, and they started coming up with these names to sound like bigger, more impressive dogs. And it's not a different breed very often. It's sometimes just a Doberman that's a little bit bigger than average, or it is a crossbreed. A lot of times they like to cross Dobermans with Great Danes, also called Doberdanes, and pass them off as a full-blooded large Doberman and call them a Goliath Doberman or something like that, whereas really it's a mix or a mutt type of breed. I actually did a video all about deep diving into the Warlock, what it is, and some videos and pictures of the Warlock that's kind of cool. Should be popping up in the corner of your screen if you want to check that out as well. Now, the next myth is that Dobermans are born naturally with erect ears. Now, this is not true. They naturally have long, floppy ears, And I think this is mainly a myth inside the United States, because in the US you almost never see a natural-eared Dobermans, especially traditionally, and in televisions and in movies, same thing. You almost always see Dobermans right in line with the Doberman breed standard in America, which is with the cropped and erect ears. I think there are a lot of domesticated dog breeds that naturally have erect ears, and I think like every natural dog out there, a wild dog anyway, has erect ears also. So I think this is what leads to a lot of people just assume that the Doberman breed is one of those ones that has erect ears naturally, which is not the case. A vet will usually crop a Doberman's ears at a young age, and the owners will post the ears in position until the dog is usually between 6 to 8 months of age. At that point, the cartilage in the ears have slowly firmed up enough, because the ears naturally firm up as the dog gets older, and then the ears will stay in the erect, upright position. A lot of you in other countries know that this is the case, but in the US it's not near as common. There are a lot of reasons this is done, so if you are wondering why ears are cropped on Dobermans, you can take a look at the video I did all about that. Should be popping up in the corner of your screen. Especially useful for a lot of you outside the US who wonder why us in America have this strange tradition. Now the next one, and this is a big misconception about Dobermans, is that they're overly aggressive dogs. Now, while the breed was originally created in the late 1800s for the sole purpose of personal protection of humans, that was their main role from the beginning, by a gentleman named Carl Frederick Louis Doberman. And it is arguable that maybe those early Dobermans may have been more aggressive than today's dogs, but today's Dobermans, after years of breeding for a better temperament and fitting in better with families, they're just sweet, loyal, loving, incredible dogs. And if they're raised right with plenty of socialization, they're incredibly accepting of strangers too. They're just bona fide top-of-the-line family dogs now. In fact, in 2018, dogbite.org did a study where they looked into the statistics of a 13-year period of all the dog bite fatalities in the United States between 2005 and 2017. And during that time, dogs killed 433 Americans in the entire US. And this chart on your screen breaks it down for you by breed of the offending dog. Now, as you can see by the data on your screen, the Doberman was only responsible for 1.4% of all these fatalities over 13 years in the US. So in other words, the Boxer, the Labrador Retriever, the Husky, the Mastiff, the American Bulldog, the German Shepherd, the Rottweiler, and Pit Bull were all responsible for more deaths than the Doberman was. Yes, I did say the Labrador Retriever, widely considered to be an amazing family dog, was responsible for more deaths than the Doberman Pinscher. Dobermans just aren't aggressive dogs. They're great loyal family protectors, so they possess great defensive instincts, not offensive ones, and they're smart enough to tell a difference. Before we get into a few of the really juicy myths about this dog, guys, I do want to take a minute to ask you to hit that subscribe button down below and the little bell icon next to it to make sure you get notified of my next video when it's released. You definitely are not going to want to miss the next video. I release one video every week. Trust me, you'll thank me for it later. Next up is the misconception that Dobermans don't shed, which is not true. They do shed, although I kind of wish this was true that they didn't shed, but they do. But they have a short, single-layer coat with very short, thick furs. Everywhere except for the neck does have a dual-layer coat there. But these hairs are thick and they fall right to the floor. They don't float around in the air. They're easy to sweep up, easy to manage, and you don't really notice them on the floor. So a lot of people think, hey, they just don't shed because they don't see piles of hairs in owners' homes. But that's not the case. They do shed. And if you brush your dog at least once a week, the shedding is going to be reduced even further, and it's even going to be easier to manage. Now, sometimes the hairs can cause some skin irritations with some owners, but they're really easy on the sinuses, and a lot of people who generally have allergies to dogs find that Dobermans are really easy dogs to live with. The next myth, a very big one, is that Dobermans are not good in a family. I've kind of touched on this a minute ago, but let me explain a little bit further. This myth is that they're bad around kids and they're not good for family, and that they're better for a single owner who can really focus on the dog. Now, Dobermans are known for bonding a little bit more to one person than a group of people, like a family. That is something that they're a little bit known for. In males, this almost isn't noticeable because they bond really well to the whole family. In females, it might be a little bit more noticeable, but they still do really well in a family. Females just tend to be a little more inclined to have that one favorite person. That's all. But they're great in families. They're awesome about being really cautious around children and being careful around them. They naturally are attentive and focused on kids and what they're doing. and really integrate well, especially with active families that are always out there and doing things. They're great for active families, and you'll often find them naturally just kind of laying down on the floor while your kids are playing and interacting with them, and especially laying down with their back to their kids and their head towards the door of whatever room they're in. Again, this is their natural protective instincts that are showing through, which is a great feeling when you're an owner, just to know that your Doberman's natural protective instincts and natural love for your kids are all working together and just making a great family dog. The next myth, and this is a big one, is that Dobermans are just too difficult to own, especially for first-time dog owners. This is absolutely not the case. They're just incredibly unique. And being different in how you address a dog doesn't mean it's more difficult. It just means it's not necessarily what you're used to. Now, this comes from, I think, these dogs being a little bit on the dominant side and headstrong side, but also intelligent. So they can figure out how to kind of take advantage of some situations sometimes. Now, the best way to make sure you succeed with a Doberman as your first dog, or even your first time with this breed, is simply just have a training plan that you stick to. Consistency with your training plan is way more important with the Doberman breed than having the exact right technique that is most effective. Let me say that again. Consistency is way more important than technique with the Doberman breed. They're intelligent enough to figure out what you want, but they're also smart enough that if you're switching up the technique all the time, they're going to find what you're doing, and they're going to see that as lack of leadership and start trying to take advantage of you and be a little bit more forceful about what they want in the house and not care as much as what you want. So consistency is key, and new dog owners just need to put emphasis on mental stimulation a lot more with the Dobermans than only exercise. Exercise 1 to 2 hours a day, that's great, but mental stimulation is just as important, and that's not as important with many other breeds, and this is just one way they're different. Again, different doesn't mean it's harder, it just means it's not what you're used to. So just know that you got to address the mental side too with the Doberman, and you should be doing really good. In fact, I did a video all about the areas where first-time Doberman owners often fail and why that happens and what they can do about it. That video should be popping up in the corner of your screen. Take a look at that if you want to see exactly where new owners of this amazing breed trip up. If you've enjoyed learning about this breed, why not take a second and watch this video right here? This one will tell you a lot more about why this breed is just so unique as compared to so many other dog breeds out there. Thank you so much for watching. Please keep digging into this breed, would you? Learn a little bit more about it. I don't think it's going to disappoint you whatsoever. This might just open up a whole really cool new world for you. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.